The true story of the Amityville horror house begins in the quiet suburban neighborhood of Amityville, New York, located on Long Island. The house at 112 Ocean Avenue became infamous due to the chilling events that occurred there, which have since been the subject of books, movies, and endless speculation. On November 13, 1974, Ronald DeFeo Jr., a 23-year-old resident of the house, committed a heinous crime. He murdered 6 members of his family: his parents, Ronald DeFeo Sr. and Louise DeFeo, and his 4 siblings, Dawn, Allison, Mark, and John Matthew. The murders were carried out with a .35 caliber rifle while the victims were asleep in their beds. DeFeo later claimed that he heard voices urging him to commit the murders. He was eventually convicted of the crimes and sentenced to 6 concurrent sentences of 25 years to life in prison. The story could have ended there, with the tragic tale of a family annihilated by one of its own members. However, the legend of the Amityville house took a supernatural turn when the Lutz family moved into the house in December 1975, just over a year after the DeFeo murders. George and Kathleen Lutz, along with their 3 children, were aware of the house's dark history but decided to proceed with the purchase, believing that the past events would not affect them. However, the family claimed to have experienced a series of terrifying and inexplicable phenomena almost immediately after moving in. According to the Lutzes, they encountered strange odors, cold spots, and green slime oozing from the walls. George Lutz reported waking up at 3:15 a.m. every night, around the time the DeFeo murders were believed to have occurred. The family also claimed to have heard strange noises, seen apparitions, and experienced other disturbing events. Kathy Lutz said she levitated and had vivid nightmares about the murders. The final straw came when the family saw the red eyes of a demonic creature staring through a window at them. The Lutzes fled the house in January 1976 after just 28 days, leaving behind most of their possessions. Their story quickly garnered media attention and was eventually transformed into a book, The Amityville Horror, written by Jay Anson and published in 1977. The book's success led to a film adaptation in 1979, further solidifying the house's reputation as a site of supernatural terror. The film was remade in 2005 and stars Ryan Reynolds. Skeptics have challenged the Lutz's account over the years, suggesting that it was a hoax or an exaggeration designed to profit from the notoriety of the DeFeo murders. Several investigations have found inconsistencies in the Lutz's story, and some of the people involved, including lawyer William Weber, who initially represented DeFeo, later claimed that the haunting was a fabrication concocted over several bottles of wine. Despite the skepticism, the legend of the Amityville horror house persists. The house itself has changed hands several times and has been renovated to the point where it no longer resembles its infamous appearance from the 1970s. The address has even been changed to discourage curiosity seekers. Nonetheless, the story continues to captivate the public's imagination, blending true crime with supernatural horror in a way that few other tales have managed to do. In conclusion, the true story of the Amityville horror house is a complex tapestry of tragic real-life events and controversial claims of paranormal activity. Whether one believes in the hauntings or views them as a clever fabrication, the story remains a haunting reminder of the dark potential lurking behind the closed doors of seemingly ordinary homes. The Lost Colony of Roanoke is one of America's oldest mysteries, a tale of exploration, ambition, and baffling disappearance that has intrigued historians, archaeologists, and storytellers for centuries. Situated on Roanoke Island, off the coast of present-day North Carolina, this early English settlement was intended to be a foothold in the New World, but it vanished without a trace, leaving behind a legacy of speculation and legend. In the late 16th century, England, under the reign of Queen Elizabeth I, was eager to expand its influence and compete with Spain for control of the New World. Sir Walter Raleigh, an ambitious courtier, secured a charter to establish a colony in North America. After an initial reconnaissance expedition in 1584, Raleigh sent a larger group of settlers to Roanoke Island in 1585. This first attempt, however, faced severe challenges, including food shortages and conflicts with indigenous peoples, leading to its abandonment in 1586. Undeterred, Raleigh organized a second expedition. In 1587, over 100 men, women, and children, led by John White, a seasoned artist and cartographer, arrived at Roanoke. This group hoped to establish a permanent settlement and develop relations with local tribes. Shortly after their arrival, White's daughter gave birth to Virginia Dare, the first English child born in the New World, symbolizing hope and new beginnings for the fledgling colony. Within weeks of their arrival, the settlers faced mounting difficulties. Supplies dwindled, and tensions with local tribes intensified. John White returned to England for additional provisions and reinforcements, but his return was delayed by the Anglo-Spanish War. When he finally made it back to Roanoke in 1590, he found the settlement deserted. The only clues left behind were the word Croatoan carved into a palisade post and CRO etched into a tree. These cryptic messages suggested a possible relocation to Croatoan Island, now Hatteras Island. But adverse weather and limited resources prevented White from investigating further. Over the centuries, numerous theories have emerged to explain the fate of the Roanoke colonists. Some suggest they assimilated with friendly Native American tribes, such as the Croatoan or the Lumbee, based on anecdotal evidence of European traits and customs observed among these groups. Archaeological findings, such as European artifacts found on Hatteras Island, lend some support to this hypothesis. Other theories propose more dire outcomes. The settlers may have fallen victim to disease, starvation, or hostile tribes. Some historians speculate that they tried to return to England on their own and were lost at sea. The lack of definitive evidence leaves room for conjecture and has made the Roanoke mystery fertile ground for folklore and fictional retellings, including an entire season of the television series American Horror Story dedicated to it. In recent years, advances in technology and archaeology have sparked renewed interest in uncovering the truth about Roanoke. Projects like the First Colony Foundation have conducted extensive excavations and research, uncovering artifacts that provide tantalizing hints, but no conclusive answers. Efforts to use DNA analysis to trace potential descendants of the colonists among Native American populations are ongoing, offering the possibility of new insights into this age-old enigma. The story of the lost colony of Roanoke endures as a poignant chapter in the broader narrative of American history. It represents the struggles and uncertainties of early colonial ventures. Roanoke has inspired countless books, documentaries, and fictional works, each exploring different facets of the colony's disappearance and its implications. In the end, Roanoke remains a symbol of both the potential and peril inherent in exploration. Its unresolved fate invites us to reflect on the resilience and resourcefulness of those early settlers, as well as the enduring mystery that continues to captivate our imaginations. The final story is about The Exorcism of Emily Rose, a 2005 film, is inspired by the real-life case of Anneliese Michel, a young German woman. Born in 1952, Anneliese grew up in a devout Catholic family. Her life took a tragic turn in her late teens when she began experiencing severe convulsions and was diagnosed with temporal lobe epilepsy. Despite medical treatment, Anneliese's condition worsened, and she began showing symptoms that her deeply religious family believed were signs of demonic possession. These symptoms included extreme aversion to religious objects, self-harm, and hallucinations. Frustrated by the lack of progress with medical interventions, her family sought help from the church. In 1975, after much deliberation, two priests, Father Arnold Renz and Pastor Ernst Alt, received permission from the local bishop to perform an exorcism following the ancient rite of exorcism. Over 10 months, they conducted 67 exorcism sessions. Throughout this period, Anneliese's health deteriorated. She refused to eat, believing it would purify her soul. Tragically, on July 1, 1976, Anneliese Michel died of malnutrition and dehydration at the age of 23. Her death led to a highly publicized court case in 1978, where her parents and the priests were charged with negligent homicide. The court found them guilty of manslaughter due to negligence, sentencing them to 6 months in prison, suspended, and 3 years of probation. The case raised significant ethical and legal questions about the responsibilities of medical professionals versus religious beliefs. It remains a poignant example of the tragic consequences that can arise when faith and science clash. The Exorcism of Emily Rose dramatizes these events, blending horror with courtroom drama to explore the complex interplay between belief, mental illness, and the law. Thank you for listening. If you like this content and would like to hear more, please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Be sure to leave a comment below letting me know what else you would like to hear from Nocturnal Nightmares Network. Your support is greatly appreciated.